Alright, ladies and dudes, I got some good news and bad news for my latest video I want to do for today. For the good news, I'm going to do another top 5 list that nobody has never done before. And I thought about this list for quite a while. And sadly, for the bad news, I gotta do it in a 2-part event because it's going to be a very over 9,000 long one. That's for sure. Well, anyway, hi, ladies and dudes. This is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Booba 1987. This is my review for a day. And today I have no review, ladies and dudes. It's strike that, reverse it. It is that time once again for another top 5 list that nobody has never done before. And this top 5 list is going to be about, well, if you guys remember my previous video about the reason why I'm so darn upset about that the old gray my Liam Neeson is going to get involved with one of the worst films that's going to come out this year called Naked Gun, and I'm sure we're not a big fan of this next movie that he's going to do. After all, it is Seth MacFarlane's fault for screwing him up and getting involved with the wrong film at the wrong time. And I think it will be a good idea if the old gray my Liam Neeson should just get involved with another film maybe that he had never created before. Until this idea came by in my head. What will happen if I created a good film that nobody had never done before that featured in a multiverse? That featured so many great unlikely ally characters that we all grown to love and care about, even if these characters are so darn underrated in so many ways. So for my latest top 5 list of the day is the top 5 of which one of these members of the Unstoppable 9 who should deserve to have a storyline in a film. And I think 5 of them will have to do for now. For part 1, I'm going to explain to you all about number 5 to number 4, and for part 2 will be the last 3. And yeah, I want to create a good multiverse story that featured just one character only from each of the franchise. From Taken to John Wick to a character that came from Harry Potter. One film that featured from Mr. Green Goblin. And also one of the most beloved characters that we all cared and loved from the Spider-Man franchise. So yeah, it's going to be way too hard for me to explain about this brand new list that nobody has never done before. And tell you the truth is, I gotta pick only 5. 5 good characters I want to choose for this list. Which one of these 5 dudes who came from different universes who should deserve to have a storyline for the Unstoppable 9? And yeah, I gotta tell you the truth is, ladies and dudes, about the 3 characters, Professor Scary Snape, Hercule Poirot, and Martin David will be the 3 most hardest characters that I'm trying really hard for, or I'm trying really hard to think about what type of storyline I should give to them for this Unstoppable 9 storyline. Yeah, well, I can give something a little bit for Professor Scary Snape. Something I will explain to you for part 1 of this list. So yeah, I decided to do a multiverse storyline that featured 9 different dudes that came from 8 different universes. That's for sure. And I guess you want to know which one of the 5 dudes who deserves to be in the spotlight. And which one of them who deserves to have the most greatest storyline of all. So, let's go ahead and get this started. For part one, of course. So without further ado, ladies and dudes, here is part one of my top 5 of which one of these members of the Unstoppable 9 who should deserve to have a storyline in a film. So here we go. I know, I'm sure everybody will be shocked about it. So coming at number 5 has to go to Bryan Mills from the Taken saga. No matter what, Taken will always be one of the most greatest films of all time. Hands down. Well, let's just say it's a near perfect film for me. Since there's still a few flaws that needs to be explained more. Like, how the heck will Bryan Mills will work things out with his ex-wife Lenore before she could change back into Lenny? And I wish there was a part in the film where Lenore needs to apologize to Bryan Mills for all the bad things that ever happened that came from in the very first film. Even that terrible thing that she will commit, betraying her loved ones and get involved with this terrible mess about that their daughter Kim is going to go to Paris, France and get involved with her fate and all that stuff. So I guess you want to know what type of storyline I should give for Bryan Mills. Yeah, there'll be some parts of the movie, from my own idea, he will be half of the main focus of the film. And his storyline is all about is try to become a responsible leader to 8 unknown men. Well, he knows one of them, but he doesn't know the other 7 that well. He's just going to do his best to try to get to know every single one of them. But I did remember a good idea for the beginning of the storyline where he's going to get to know Hercule Poirot and Martin David, because I think he really likes to get along with dudes who are a bunch of shorties. And since he has a good friend named Sam, who's really a shorty. So there will be a storyline in the first act of the story where he's going to get to know 2 dudes who are a bunch of shorties. And also they're going to share a battle scene together. And he'll get along with them very, very, very well. And they're going to meet each other at the bar scene. And then later on in the storyline, he has to get to know some other men he had never met yet and try to get along with each single one of them and try to become friends with them. Yeah. So Bryan Mills is going to be the main leader of the group. And he's going to be the 3rd strongest member of the team. A high elite warrior who has deadly arts, a particular set of skills. And still I gotta find a way to add the most important part of the story where he needs to work things out with his beloved Lenny and try to get their relationship back together as a whole. That's one of the important parts of the story that I wish they should have added for the very first film. If you know what I mean. So I put him at the number 5 spot. Coming at number 4 has to go to the Phantom of the Opera. And I really want to see Gerard Butler come back and reprise his one of the most underrated characters that he have ever played in his whole entire career. Well, thanks to How to Train Your Dragon saga, this is where he gets his strong cult following. And since he had some films here and there that are really, really bad, except for How to Train Your Dragon saga, it became one of his best films that he ever done in his career. But I will say the Phantom of the Opera is really his most underrated character that he ever played in his whole entire life. And his storyline will be kind of interesting to me. And that is, he needs to learn how to get along with other people. Since he's been a sad, lonely dude all of his life and he never got any friends around. He never got along with anybody in Paris, France. But the only person he ever cared about is Christine Daae. And that was it. he never cared about anybody else. So for his storyline is he needs to learn to get along with the members of the Unstoppable Nine. And he's going to have mixed bags with these guys. The only ones he'll get along with is Brian Mills, Professor Scary Snape, and Martin David, because I think he wants to get along with guys who are a bunch of tough cookies, and they're very tough fighters. That's for sure. And he's going to have a brotherly love type of relationship with Professor Scary Snape, since he and Snape have a couple of things in common. They're both sad and lonely dudes, and the only people that they care about is the ladies that they love. Snape loves his Lily, and Phantom loves his Christine. That's for sure. And also, Snape will be responsible of teaching the Phantom of the Opera some fantastic tricks here and there, even the part with the cape technique. Since the Phantom of the Opera is pretty good at cape techniques. And yeah, the Phantom of the Opera will be the only character who's truly a bad A-word dude. Since Gerard Butler is the only Phantom out there who can release the bad A-wordness to his character, and nobody else can. Oh yeah, as for the other members of the Unstoppable Nine, he has mixed bags with John Wick and the Ninth Mysterious Warrior of the group. He likes his well, let's strike that, reverse it. He does like their fighting skills, but the problem is their voices is a bit too soft for his taste, and I think he doesn't like softy guys at all. As for the other three members of the Unstoppable Nine, let's just say those are his least favorite people of all. He can't stand Hercule Poirot because he's way too cocky and he's a bit too much of a shorty, and he gave him the nickname Mr. Shorty Private Eye. He can't stand Otto One at all because he's kind of annoying and being so weird, and he calls him an idiot all the time and calling him Mr. Melars Man. And he can't stand Robert Linden because he's the most weakest member of the team, and he has no fighting skills at all. And he calls him a weakling. And also he likes to call him the Unknown Priest, because the Phantom of the Opera had never got to know any priestess at all. He thinks that Robert Linden is the only priest that he'll ever know in his whole entire life. So yeah, I will say the Phantom of the Opera's storyline will be kind of interesting. Trying to get to know the members of the Unstoppable Nine, and just if he'll ever make friends with a few of them or not. So that will be pretty darn interesting. So I put him at the number 4 spot. Part 1 is done, ladies and dudes. It's going to be a long one. That's for sure. So sadly, to be continued.